Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. Well, Prince George's police are investigating a police-involved shooting in Lanham this morning. Police say they received a call about a suspicious person in a car at the 8900 block of Hickory Hill Avenue. Authorities say as two officers approached the car, a suspect opened fire. One officer returned fire, but it's unclear if the suspect was hit. The suspect fled the scene. A second teenager has been arrested in connection with a fatal gas station shooting. He is being charged as an adult with second-degree murder and armed carjacking in the death of 54-year-old Lee Alexander Thomas. Thomas was fatally shot at a Largo gas station on Campus Way South, back in December. A 17-year-old male also charged with murder was arrested recently. Neither suspect has been identified. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown announces charges against 9 members of a West Baltimore drug operation known as the WIC Squad. Brown says they peddled narcotics, including fentanyl and cocaine. The investigation got underway last February.
Today's announcement is the first of many announcements to come. Our organized crime unit has been and will continue to be working in partnership with local, state, and federal law enforcement and prosecutors to dismantle and disrupt violent criminal organizations and stop individuals who are trafficking these deadly substances and wreaking havoc in our communities.
This was an independent major drug trafficking organization that was committing so much trafficking in the community and violence in the community that it warranted our attention specifically on them. And this is the result of community complaints.
And 3 of the 9 individuals were indicted and sentenced last year. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed nearly 1,100 new COVID-19 cases. The positivity rate in Prince George's stands at 13.3%. 18 people have died of COVID over the past 24 hours. 676 people are hospitalized with the disease. Well, today is the official start of the 2023 tax filing season. The IRS is now accepting tax returns for 2022. This year's tax filing deadline is April 18th. If you seek an extension, you will have until October 16th to file your 2022 taxes. However, you still have to pay whatever is owed. Well, Maryland's new comptroller, Brooke Learman, begins her first tax season. Last year, the comptroller's office processed more than 3.1 million individual state returns, with refunds totaling nearly $2.1 billion. Learman wants Marylanders to be aware of the state's Earned Income Tax Credit. The EITC is a refundable tax credit that supplements the wages of workers with low to moderate incomes.
The Maryland Earned Income Tax Credit, there's actually 2. There's this federal Earned Income Tax Credit and the Maryland Earned Income Tax Credit. And this is a tax credit for working low-income Marylanders. If you make up to $59,000 a year, and you have a number of qualifying children and you're filing jointly, those are the upper limits for the EITC, as we call it. And this tax credit lowers the amount you owe, and then it's refundable. So it actually pays you money if you have no tax liability at all. So it's a really powerful and important anti-poverty tool that we can use in the government to make sure we're getting people who need it that extra income.
And for more information, you can visit marylandtaxes.gov. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, a special program on domestic violence airing live on CTV tonight. Taylor Thomas is the host, and we'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Well, a local domestic violence survivor is sharing her story of abuse and recovery. Sheila Malloy Hall found herself in a violent relationship after marrying her first husband. She had never experienced or seen domestic abuse growing up. In fact, she came from a close-knit family with strong values. She said when it was happening to her, the words domestic violence didn't even come to mind.
Just hard to describe because domestic violence is associated with so much. The psychological hold, the emotional hold, the physical holds. And while I had so many bruises here and there, even being strangled and left for dead, the psychological piece though, it really tore me apart, and I had no idea how much it would mess with my mental health. I began to not see myself as Sheila anymore. I lived a facade projecting one person, but inside I was torn and broken and shameful and just afraid that now I've got to tell the truth about everything that has happened to me. And what will people say about me?
And Malloy Hall is now in a healthy and happy marriage. She's also created a nonprofit organization called Healing to Grace to provide peer support to other victims. You can learn more about her and the services she provides by going to the website on your screen. And tonight we will open up the phone lines here at CTV at 6:30 for Silence No More, a conversation about domestic violence with Taylor Thomas. You can call in at 301-386-4086. Again, that is 301-386-4086. And if you need help now, you can always call 311. Well, as we told you last week, Governor Wes Moore signed 2 executive orders on his first full day on the job. One creates a Department of Service and Civic Innovation. It's aimed at generating more volunteer and service efforts across the state. The other focuses on those who serve under the governor, and it creates standards for conduct for executive branch employees. We asked Delegate Darrell Barnes for his thoughts.
I'm excited to work with him. I think setting up an ethics committee to ensure that we do things above board. I know one of the things that we talked about during his campaigning was the diversity and inclusion. So setting this up makes a lot of sense to me.
And Moore's executive order mentions realigning existing positions in other agencies into a new Department of Service and Civic Innovation. A teenager faces murder charges for his alleged involvement in a fatal shooting at a metro station over the weekend. According to Metro Transit Police, the suspect has been identified as 17-year-old Dahani Rispus. Officers were called to the parking lot of the Southern Avenue Metro Station in Hillcrest Heights about 4:45 p.m. on Sunday. Police found the male victim suffering from gunshot wounds. CPR was given, but he ultimately died on the scene. The suspect has been charged as an adult and faces murder, assault, and other charges. A fire at a home in Temple Hills turns deadly over the weekend. Officials say 2 people were found dead in a house fire on Saturday, January 22nd. Crews were called to the 5700 block of Center Drive just after 10 p.m. When they arrived, firefighters found the home engulfed in flames. 3 firefighters were also taken to the hospital. The county's Office of Emergency Management is working to assist the 2 additional displaced residents. And we have more news plus sports after the break. Stay with us.
I'm Simon Bugs, and coming up, I'll be talking about the UMD men's and women's basketball teams that will play yesterday, a member of the Washington Wizards being on the move, and the teams playing on Sunday that will have a shot to get to the Super Bowl. Stay right there.
Whether you're about to leave the service or been out for decades, your veterans benefits just got a whole lot better. With the PACT Act, now even more veterans are eligible for VA health care.
Welcome to the VA.
And for those already enrolled, you will see a rapid expansion of services and programs.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hoy. How can I help?
To learn what VA can do for you, visit va.gov/PACT or call 1-800-MyVA411.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, anti-Semitic flyers are discovered in a Kensington neighborhood. The hateful messages were left in the front yards of at least a dozen houses early yesterday morning. Home surveillance video captured the alleged culprit stopping by several homes on Brookfield Drive near Parkwood Drive. Last week, other anti-Semitic incidents took place at 3 Montgomery County schools where swastikas were drawn into desks. The chair of Maryland's 529 College Savings Plan abruptly resigns following a heated briefing before a joint House committee. Petros Sirigotis had been Maryland's 529 chair since last February. In an email to other board members, he said demands of the position had increased and were too much to commit to as a volunteer. The college savings program has been sharply criticized for recent failings. Parents have been complaining since last summer that they are not able to access interest earned on their prepaid accounts. The ongoing case to decide whether to remove Prince George's School Board member Juanita Miller could take months to decide, according to Maryland Matters. Attorneys presented closing arguments last week, and now the Office of Administrative Hearings has up to 90 days to provide a written decision. Once a decision is issued, it then goes to the State Board of Education, where members decide whether to accept the judge's ruling. Miller faces allegations of misconduct in office, willful neglect of duty, and incompetence. Well, Prince George's Democrats choose a lawmaker to fill a vacant seat in the Maryland Senate. The Democratic Central Committee will forward Delegate Alonzo Washington's name to Governor Wes Moore. Moore has up to 15 days to make the appointment official. The 39-year-old was the only person to come before the committee seeking the seat left vacant by Senator Paul Pinsky after he was selected to head the Maryland Energy Administration. Ashanti Martinez is considering the upcoming House seat left vacant by Washington. Martinez is currently the Chief of Staff for newly elected Prince George's Councilmember Crystal Oriatha.
The University of Maryland women's basketball team tallied their 9th win in the last 10 games as they beat the University of Nebraska 69-54. This win puts the Lady Terps at a record of 16-4 on the year, and they are also 7-2 in their conference. The Lady Terps will look to make it 10 wins out of their last 11 games as they face off against the University of Michigan on Thursday. Now on to UMD men's basketball. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pull out a win in their game yesterday as they fell to Purdue 58-55. This loss is the third one the Terps have had in their last 5 games, as they are now 12-7 on the year. The team will look to move to 13 wins on the year as they take the court against Wisconsin on Wednesday. Now to the NBA. The Washington Wizards have agreed to trade forward Rui Hachimura to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for guard Kendrick Nunn, as well as 3 second-round picks. Hachimura was the 9th overall pick back in 2019, and for the Wizards this season, he averaged 13 points and 4 rebounds. Moving on to the NFL, the NFC and AFC title games are set as the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers will take the field as they will have a chance to represent the NFC and the Super Bowl. And also the rematch we have been waiting for, the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals will take the field as they will have a chance to represent the AFC in the big game. Both title games are set to be played on Sunday. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And now let's get a quick check on your 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows around 31. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high near 48. Wednesday, expect rain throughout the day with a high near 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, lows near 46. And now for your community calendar, the Brentwood Arts Exchange is hosting a digital photography course just for teens. The class covers basic camera operations, editing, and more. The event is tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. Register now through Parks Direct on pgparks.com. And that wraps up our newscast. Join us again tomorrow evening. Have a great night.